Have you ever had an idea so good it gave you chills? One of those that makes your heart race, that makes you imagine a completely different life, freer, richer, more aligned with who you were born to be? But then, days passed, weeks, and that idea faded away, becoming just another memory that brings frustration every time it resurfaces. You say you want to change your life, that you'll start on Monday, that you're just waiting for the right conditions. But deep down, you know. You haven't started. And maybe you don't even know where to begin. There's a type of person much more common than it seems. They're ambitious. They have big ideas, bold dreams, a clear vision of the future. But when they look in the mirror, they see someone stuck, confused, paralyzed, and they feel like a failure, not because they lack talent, but because they can't seem to start. This is the story of Thomas. He wasn't lazy. He wasn't irresponsible. He was intelligent, sensitive. He had deep eyes and a head full of plans. Since he was 17, he wrote everything down. Business ideas, books, powerful quotes, systems that could change lives. He was obsessed with personal development. He had Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, and Tim Ferriss memorized. And everyone said the same thing. You have everything it takes to succeed. But he didn't act. He only thought. He woke up late, spent hours watching motivational videos, wrote goals in notebooks that were never opened again. It was like he was eternally preparing for a marathon he never began. Then one day, he had a genius idea, an app to help anxious people build micro-habits. The concept was simple but brilliant. He sketched the interface, the reward system, the emotional user flow. It was all there, ready to be born. But instead of executing, he closed the notebook and put it away for 7 years. In that time, he watched multiple startups launch similar ideas. Some raised millions. Others became global case studies. And Thomas, he stayed stuck. Each new idea felt like the perfect replacement for the last, but the cycle repeated, always. Anxiety became silence, excitement turned to apathy, and ambition became chronic frustration. He started to isolate himself, spoke less, disappeared. Until one day, at 42 years old, Thomas had a heart attack at home. He died alone, surrounded by notebooks, books, and empty promises. But the most powerful part wasn't his death. It was what his sister found under the bed, an envelope with a letter. In it, Thomas wrote, "I know I was born to do something great, but I just can't seem to start. Maybe, deep down, I'm afraid to find out I'm not as good as I imagine, and I'd rather keep dreaming than fail." That letter was never sent. But if you're hearing this now, maybe it wasn't just his. Maybe it's yours too. How many ideas have you buried in silence? How many times have you convinced yourself you just needed one more course, one more plan, one more push, one more perfect moment? How many of your ideas were executed by others, while you were still wondering whether to begin? Most people who don't take action aren't being lazy. They're being ruled by something more invisible: fear. Fear of failing, fear of trying and not being good enough, fear of finding out the dream was better than the reality. But here's a brutal truth. Waiting for the perfect moment is the biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move. Action creates clarity. Movement kills fear. Every time you don't act, you train yourself to doubt your own power. Every time you postpone, you reinforce the belief that it's safer to imagine than to do. And over time, that destroys your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who builds, and start seeing yourself as someone who dreams. but never changes. Steve Pressfield wrote something I carry with me every day. Resistance will tell you you're not ready yet, that you need to study more, plan better, wait a little longer. But the truth is, you already know enough to start. The rest, you'll learn by doing. You don't need to finish the whole project. You just need to take the first step. It doesn't matter if it's imperfect. You won't die from starting badly. But you might die never having started at all. Thomas died with a millionaire mind and a paralyzed body. How many of us are walking the same path? You don't have to repeat that story. If something inside you is screaming for change, listen. Pick one of your ideas, just one. And today, still today, take the first step. Send the message, post the video, record the idea. Start ugly, start small, start scared, but start. Because either you take action or you spend your whole life watching from the sidelines. If this video found its way to you, it's because it was meant to. And if it moved you, maybe it's because you're also tired of being stuck in your own head. Now, there's only one question that matters. Are you going to be another Thomas? Or are you going to rewrite your story? If this video made sense to you, leave a comment. Share it with someone who's been living with the brakes on. But listen carefully. This isn't for people who just want to feel inspired. It's for those ready to take action, even while afraid. Because courage is never the absence of fear. It's the decision to move, in spite of it. Subscribe to the channel, but only if you're brave enough.